My name is Danielle, and this is the part where I tell you that I was once a loyal wife. At least, I thought I was. Or maybe I just liked the idea of being one. For 5 years, I played the role well, smiles at dinner parties, Sunday brunches with my in-laws, birthday surprises. I even laughed at Marcus's jokes when they weren't funny anymore. But behind every smile, something was missing. Not love, necessarily. Marcus loved me in his own way, but he loved me like a habit. Routine. Safe. Predictable. I was 28, and every morning felt like déjà vu. Same breakfast, same goodbye kiss, same text at lunch. How's your day going, babe? I started lying when I answered. Great. I'd type, even though I was screaming inside. The turning point wasn't dramatic. No big fight or emotional betrayal. It was a Tuesday. I was at the gym, trying to shake off the fog that had been clouding me for months. That's where I saw him, Troy. Tall, black, chiseled like he walked out of a magazine. He wasn't just handsome. He moved with this confidence, like the world had to adjust for him. He was a personal trainer, and the kind that made every woman in the gym steal glances. He caught me looking. I looked away. Then back. He smiled. That smile wrecked something inside me. At first, it was harmless. He offered to help adjust my form during a workout. His hands were firm, warm on my back. I told myself it was normal, that I was imagining the way his eyes lingered. But deep down, I knew I wasn't. The next day, he was waiting near the squat rack. We started talking, just small stuff, music, food, weekend plans. He asked about my husband, casually. I told him Marcus was great, steady, reliable. I didn't say boring. I didn't have to. Troy grinned like he already knew. It didn't take long. 1 week, maybe 2. He texted me one night, just a joke about something we'd said at the gym. I smiled at my phone longer than I should have. We started talking late into the night. At first, I tried to be good. I avoided anything too flirty. But then I craved it. Craved him. The attention, the compliments, the way he said my name like it was some forbidden thing. It felt dangerous. And that was the point. The first time it happened, it was raining. He offered to give me a ride home. I should have said no. I didn't. We sat in his car outside my house, talking. Our voices low. His hand brushed mine. I didn't pull away. When he leaned in, I let him kiss me. It wasn't sweet or soft. It was desperate. Hungry. I kissed him back. Minutes blurred. Clothes shifted. And then we were in the backseat. I don't even remember breathing. Afterward, I sat in silence. My body still shaking, my mind screaming. I kept staring at the windshield, rain sliding down like a curtain between me and reality. He reached over, touched my face, said, "You needed that, didn't you?" I didn't answer. I just got out and walked through the rain, heart pounding, legs barely steady. Inside the house, Marcus was on the couch, watching some documentary about war. He looked up, smiled. "You're soaked, babe." I lied. Told him I forgot my umbrella. He laughed and patted the seat next to him. I sat, wrapped in a towel, hair dripping. He didn't notice. Not the smell of cologne that wasn't his. Not the smeared lipstick. Nothing. That night, lying in bed beside him, I stared at the ceiling and whispered to myself, this was just once. But even I didn't believe it. There was something inside me, like a door had opened, and I didn't know how to close it. It wasn't about love. Not with Troy. It was about being wanted, seen, devoured. And for the first time in years, I felt awake. The worst part, I didn't even feel that guilty. I should have. But instead, I felt powerful. Desired. Alive. And that's where it should have ended. But instead, it was just the beginning. Troy became a drug I couldn't quit. After that night in his car, I told myself it would stop. That I would come to my senses and walk away. But I didn't. I kept finding excuses to go to the gym. I started dressing differently. Tighter tops, lipstick in my gym bag, perfume dabbed behind my ears like I was preparing for a date. Every time I walked in and saw Troy's grin, I felt the heat rise up my spine. He didn't just touch my body, he pulled something darker out of me. Something I didn't know I had been suppressing for years. Our meetings became a routine of their own. After training, we'd sneak into the back room, the showers, sometimes even his car again. I started lying to Marcus more, saying I was doing evening yoga, staying late to help Kelsey with work. Marcus never questioned it. He was either too trusting or too blind. Maybe both. That only made it easier. Easier to walk through the front door after being wrecked by another man and pretend nothing happened. But Troy changed. Somewhere between our third and fourth week, he got possessive. He started texting constantly, asking who I was with, what I was doing. He hated when I ignored his messages for more than an hour. "Don't play with me, Danielle," he once texted. "You're mine now." At first, I brushed it off, thought he was just intense. But it unsettled me. He was becoming more than an escape, and I wasn't ready for that. One night, Marcus planned a spontaneous dinner, just the two of us. He booked a reservation, got dressed up, even brought me flowers. I smiled, pretended I was excited. But my heart wasn't in it. I couldn't stop checking my phone under the table, waiting for Troy's messages. When Marcus went to the restroom, I opened a text from Troy, a selfie of him shirtless in his bed, the caption reading, "Wish you were here." I excused myself to the ladies' room and stared at myself in the mirror. I looked polished, innocent, married. But my eyes, they were hollow. Something had changed in me. Something I wasn't sure I could undo. The next day, I skipped the gym and went to a lounge by myself. I just wanted space. A moment to breathe. That's where I met Andre. He wasn't loud like Troy, or predictable like Marcus. He was behind the bar, wiping glasses, his tattoos peeking from under his sleeves. Our eyes met, and I felt something flicker. Not fire. Not lust. Curiosity. I ordered a drink, sat at the bar longer than I meant to. He asked questions, but not the kind men usually ask. He wasn't trying to flirt. He asked about books. About what kind of music made me cry. And when I hesitated, he didn't fill the silence. He waited. Something about that unnerved me in a different way. I wasn't used to being seen without being wanted first. I told him I was married. He nodded, like that meant nothing. Or maybe like it meant everything. I went back 2 days later. Then again. We started talking more. No touching. Just words. That was more dangerous than sex, in a way. With Troy, I was a buddy. With Andre, I was a mind. A soul. He made me feel like I still had a self beneath all the lies. It took a week before I invited him over. Marcus was at a work seminar out of town. I told myself I just needed company. That we wouldn't cross the line. But we did. It wasn't wild or frantic like it had been with Troy. It was quiet. Tender. Afterward, we lay there in silence, the kind that didn't demand anything. I didn't realize until the next morning that I had left my earring on Andre's nightstand. By then, it didn't matter. I was fully in it. 2 men. 2 different worlds. One for hunger. One for warmth. And Marcus? Still asleep to it all. Still texting me mid-morning. "How's your day going, babe?" I stared at the message. Typed, "Going great. Love you." But the words felt like lies now. Everything did. Troy was slipping. Not from my life, but from my control. The possessiveness that once felt flattering began to curdle into something darker. He started showing up places he wasn't invited, once outside my Pilates class, another time just a block from my house. He'd claim it was coincidence, but I wasn't naive anymore. He was watching me. And I was getting scared. I told him I needed space, that things were getting too messy. He laughed, actually laughed, and said, "You think you can play with fire and not get burned." At the same time, Andre was pulling away too, but for a different reason. He wasn't a fool. He could sense that I wasn't really available, not just physically, but emotionally. One night, I stayed over longer than I should have, and when I asked him if he wanted to go somewhere the next weekend, he just looked at me and said, "Why?" "So you can go back to your husband right after." That silence between us, the kind that used to feel comforting, turned cold. I realized then that I had ruined even the one connection that might have been real. And Marcus, sweet, clueless Marcus. He had no idea. Or maybe he did, and he just couldn't admit it to himself. He started acting a little different. Quieter. He stopped reaching for me in bed. I thought maybe he was just tired from work, or that the distance was finally catching up to him. I told myself it was temporary. Everything was temporary. I tried to fix things. Genuinely. I booked a weekend cabin, just the two of us, no distractions. I cooked, I laughed, I wore that red dress he used to love. And for a moment, It felt normal again. We even made love that night, slow, careful, like people trying to find something they'd lost years ago. But after he fell asleep, I sat up in bed and stared into the dark, and I realized I still felt alone. Even when he was holding me. That following week, everything started falling apart. Kelsey, my best friend, the one person who had always kept my secrets, showed up at my door, arms crossed, face hard. She didn't yell. She didn't need to. Her eyes said everything. "How long?" she asked. "How many?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. She already knew. She shook her head. "You're not just cheating, Danielle. You're disappearing." That was the first time I cried. Not because I was ashamed, but because someone finally saw the wreckage I'd been causing. She left without another word. I didn't know Marcus had come home early that day. He'd parked on the street, walked in through the back door. Heard enough. Just enough. I found him standing in the hallway, staring at the floor like he was trying to find meaning in the tile. "You heard?" I whispered. He nodded. Not looking at me. Not yelling. Just done. He didn't sleep in our bed that night. He didn't even sleep in the house. He packed a duffel and left, without a single accusation. Just silence. The kind that screamed louder than any fight ever could. I spent the next week spiraling. Tried to call him. Texted. Apologized. Nothing. I even drove to his work, hoping to catch him during lunch. But when I got there, the front desk girl looked confused. "Oh, Marcus? He doesn't work here anymore. He transferred 2 weeks ago," she said. That didn't make sense. Transferred where? She scrolled something on her computer and then smiled politely. "Actually, I think he moved to the Westfield branch. Said he wanted a fresh start. With his girlfriend." I froze. "Girlfriend?" She nodded. "Yeah. Some bartender. Kelsey, I think her name was." My knees almost gave out. Kelsey. My best friend. The only one who knew everything. She hadn't come to confront me, she'd come to end it. She knew exactly what Marcus needed to hear, and she made sure he heard it. And just like that, everything I had tried to control, everything I thought I was keeping in balance, collapsed. One black man wasn't enough. Then 2 weren't either. And in the end, it wasn't the men who destroyed me. It was the woman who knew me best. Now, the only messages I get are promotional emails. The only warmth I feel is from old blankets. I haven't seen Troy since he drove by my street and saw me sitting alone. He didn't even slow down. Andre blocked my number. Kelsey, well, she has what's left of Marcus. And me? I just sit in silence, staring at the front door. No one knocks. No one calls. And honestly, I wouldn't either.